Congratulations. I would now like to call upon Sabiha Nuzat to deliver the undergraduate valedictorian address. Now, Sabiha transferred to Murdoch from Canada and instantly impressed the faculty with her knowledge and her drive. And as we heard, she graduated top of her undergraduate class after completing an internship as a teaching assistant for Murdoch's undergraduate IT classes. She has joined the university as faculty as a teacher in the foundation program. I present to you Sabiha Nuzat.
Thank you everyone for such a big applause. I'll give my valedictorian speech now. Sow a thought, reap an action. Sow an action, reap a habit. Sow a habit, reap a character. Sow a character, reap a destiny. Murdoch faculty, my awesome friends and peers, and all the parents, siblings, or guardians who are here today, a very good evening to all of you. It is such an honor for me to be standing here to represent the class of undergrad 2014. I totally didn't see this coming, but well, here I am. Today, we celebrate a milestone in our life. A milestone that was set the moment we graduated from high school. A milestone to become a university graduate. Being a part of a multinational country and coming from various parts of the world, we, the class of 2014, yes, I bet this is the best class graduating from Murdoch ever, stand here united as one. For some people, the degree we hold might just be a piece of paper, but it is us who truly know what we've gone through to get this very paper. John Dewey once said, "Education is not preparation for life, it is life itself." By holding this degree today, we can proudly say that we have lived life. From this stage onwards, we walk ahead with memories. Memories both good as bad. There's a big difference in doing something you like and doing something you have to. So in our lives, we must prioritize what is the way that we want to go ahead with. Want and like correlates with passion, excitement, and fun, whereas have is more of a pressure, burden, something you have to deal with for the rest of your life without being excited. Some of you sitting here might have joined Murdoch initially because you had to and not because you wanted to. But I'm sure over time it changed into a want, and that is the main reason that we're here sitting today. The key to success in life is always to do what makes you happy, and honestly, that's totally what I'm doing as well. I have learned that life is like a bowling game, unpredictable. At the first spin, you'll hit a strike. The next, gutter. After several gutters, we tend to lose hope, and we forget that there is still another sunshine. There's still another rise that we can again wake up and still hit a strike once more. Dear friends, failures should never be considered as a big stop. Rather, it should be taken as a new beginning, because when you don't stop giving on something you want, even your destiny will get tired of your tries and finally give you something that you totally deserve. Before the evening ends and we proudly call ourselves graduate, I'd like to throw a flashback of memories that will sustain in us throughout life. A couple of years back, journey at Murdoch began, with nervousness, excitement, and laughter, and short attention span. Some of us joined MDFB, the others undergrad. Little did we know that it was nothing like Wonderland. Busy were the guys, hitting on new girls. Pretty were the girls, with straight hair and hair that curls. Library was the place, where gathered were we all. Marriages tried so much, yet we sounded like a cannonball. Then came flooding like rain, assignments, tests, and quizzes that took away our life and gave us late-night buzzes. Oh, how much we cherished the moment after submissions, felt like we just conquered our life's greatest missions. Sooner did we find missions were not over. Assignment marks and results made us very sober. Envy did we much, the topper of the class. Whoever it was, it surely wasn't Chuck Bass. End of every trimester, schedule of exams emailed, reminded us the fact it is time to feel like jailed. Last minute running behind Maha and eating her brain, sending emails filled with questions and troubling Mr. Wayne. Sitting in the lecture theater and facing all our fears, during invigilation, even Moses' big smile disappears. All-nighters, procrastination, and a lot of determination brought us here today, making the best convocation. Murdochians, here we gather, happy as never before. I think I should stop now and enjoy excitement galore. Once again, I thank you for giving me this honor, Dan, Wayne, and others sitting in the corner. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Sabiha, or should I say MC Sabiha. I would now like to call upon Michelle King to deliver the postgraduate valedictorian address. Now, Michelle is a teacher at the Raha International School and has taught in Australia and the Pacific Islands. Now, through her postgraduate studies, she's developed her interest in third culture kids and how schools can better meet their needs through the professional development and improved induction programs for new teachers to this region. I present to you Michelle King.
Honoured guests, faculty, staff, fellow graduates, family and friends. As I look out on this sea of faces, I can hardly believe that I'm presenting the valedictorian speech to you this evening. I'm truly humbled by this great honour. Had anyone ever suggested this to me as a child, I actually would have thought them to be quite mad. I come from well, if they had have said to me that I would be in my 40s, doing my masters at an Australian university in the Middle East, then I would have known that they were surely mad. I come from a very small rural community in Australia, and I'm the only one actually in my family to even finish high school, let alone to attend university. In my hometown, there is and was only one school to attend, and there were no universities nearby at that time. Education was viewed as something that one participated in until the age of 16, and then it was over and on to the serious pursuit of employment and work in our community. When I was asked to write this speech, I reflected on this and thought, why did I choose this unusual path to higher education, as it certainly was not a part of my cultural framework in my upbringing? One important factor came to mind. I vividly remember my mother, who was a bright and capable woman, sadly mentioning on many occasions that she did not have the opportunity of a good education. For her, as one of 11 children growing up in Australia in the Great Depression, a good education was a privilege of only a few. But throughout my childhood, despite this, she encouraged me, she supported me, and she cried with me when I received my first offer at university. And she scrimped and saved every penny to make sure that I could go. So I stand here today as a testament to her persistence and her belief in education. And only now, looking back as an adult, as I'm sure some of the younger undergraduates will do one day when they're older, I can appreciate this only now. Even today, having lived and worked in developing countries, I see, sadly, that formal education is not accessible to all. As an employee of AusAid, it was humbling to work with families experiencing extreme poverty, who place value on education like it is a precious jewel. It was humbling to see how far they would walk to get that education, how much they appreciate a simple learning tool, like a book or a pencil, and what they sacrifice as a whole family to achieve something that we in developed countries and in the developed world often take for granted, something very, very precious, an education. When I first went to university in the 1980s, dare I say it, I was one of the youngest on campus, a very fresh-faced and impressionable 16-year-old. I went back again 10 years later to study education as a mother of two, and I was childishly fearful that I was going to be the oldest student on campus and I was back home with the nappies and wouldn't have anything current to offer. But incredibly, one of my fellow classmates was an inspiring and worldly 80-year-old woman who was more passionate about learning than anyone I've ever met in my lifetime. This taught me a very important lesson, that education knows no age limit, that we are all lifelong learners. Education does not have an expiry date. It's never too late to learn more, whether that's about life or about academics. In fact, through continuing to educate ourselves, challenge ourselves, open our minds and hearts to new ideas, we are actively engaging in the act of living full and meaningful lives. So now to my experience here at Murdoch University. There are many, many distinguishing qualities of studying at Murdoch University here in the Middle East. But perhaps the most noteworthy aspect is the joy of learning in an international community in classes where there are people from many different countries who speak many different languages and have many, many, many different viewpoints as we argued things out in the classroom each week. I've been honoured to study with students from the UAE, Jordan, Syria, Canada, Wales, Ireland, India, the UK, Lebanon, Ukraine, the list goes on. That's to name only a very few, in fact. But even if we didn't always agree with each other, it gave us another viewpoint to consider and opened our minds to the fact that there are many different ways of knowing and many different ways of doing. It challenges us to realise that different does not mean not as good as, that difference can inspire, that difference can teach empathy, that difference should be valued, not shunned, and that difference aids true perspective and deep understanding. We can learn from it and we can be truly educated. Education is rarely a solitary enterprise. It is the people around you who inspire and support you and help you to be the very best person that you can be. This speech would not be complete without acknowledging the talent of one of our very most respected lecturers in the Masters of Education program, Claire McRae. Claire, on behalf of my fellow graduates, I want to especially thank you and express our deepest appreciation for working as hard, pushing us to open our minds, having very high expectations of us, for sending back our assignments penciled within an inch of their life, and for challenging us to be better students. We thank you for being one of those people on our learning journey who really made a difference. To our other lecturers, of which there are many, we have learnt something new and valuable from each and every one of you, something that we can take with us, whether it be new information, new ideas or perspectives, a new way of presenting or a new way of thinking. We thank you for the important role that you have played in helping us to achieve our goals. To the many support staff at Murdoch who've listened to us mumble and mutter and grumble and groan about everything and anything in the midst of a seemingly unending tide of assessments, we do sincerely thank you and appreciate you. Studying is not an easy undertaking. For most of us, it is a family as well as a personal commitment. Finding that work, study and life balance can be difficult. I found juggling a full-time job, being a mother, a wife and a student almost overwhelming. For the last 2 years, I've worked all day, gone to bed early, woken up at 2, studied till 6, and so the cycle began again. I'm sure this cycle is not unfamiliar to many of my fellow graduates here tonight. And like me, most of you had significant people in your lives who have made your learning journey possible, sometimes as a sounding board, sometimes as a mentor, sometimes just to give you a supportive hug, or sometimes to give you that reality check that you really need. So on a personal note, there are 2 gentlemen in the audience that I specifically need to thank. Firstly, my husband, Stephen, whose idea actually was in the first place to do my Masters and something I loathingly reminded of him all throughout my studies. On a practical level, he took over the household, the after-school activities, and spent weekends with my son so that I could study. He supported me when I was overwhelmed with the work and study load, ignored my angry outbursts, thank goodness, and we're still married, and kept me focused on the goal ahead. The other very, very special gentleman in the audience is my son, Sabiha, who put up with not having the time with Mummy that he deserved. So to my 2 boys, I love you and I thank you, and I couldn't have done it without you. I would also like to thank my 2 grown-up children in Australia, Belle and Daniel, who can't be here tonight, but they put up with my stress and they still kept calling me, so that's a good sign, to offer support and encouragement. But ironically, my oldest son, who is studying at university, when I try to offer him study advice, he says, "Mum, you wouldn't know. I think the mothers out there will understand that." So, though studying comes with a personal cost, the long-term benefits far outweigh the sacrifices made. I know that as a result of studying their Masters here at Murdoch, several of my graduate colleagues have new and exciting jobs on the horizon and many, many opportunities that are opening up for them. One of my fellow graduates, Jenny, has moved from the classroom to a position as the manager for MENA in an exciting new literacy company that will allow her to make a difference in improving literacy standards right across the region. Others have been offered leadership opportunities they would not otherwise been given. Last week I did a Skype interview, which is an interesting experience, after applying for a job in Australia that I really thought that was completely out of my reach. But in the interview, I was surprised to hear myself discussing aspects of the distributed leadership model from my effective leadership unit. There you go, Dan, I remembered some things. I found myself discussing research methods, strategies for curriculum design, and many other concepts, all drawn from my studies here at Murdoch. What was even more surprising to me was that I got the job and will soon be moving home to Australia as an education officer across 19 schools. It's the type of job I always dreamed of having but never thought I could attain. So studying at Murdoch opens doors, it provides opportunities, it empowers, and it enables us to make a difference in our fields of study in ways we never possibly thought imaginable. So in conclusion, invest in yourselves because you are worth investing in. Use this precious jewel, your education, to achieve great things. Take the knowledge, skills and attitudes that you have learned here at Murdoch and go out into the world and really make a difference. Thank you for your kind attention, and I congratulate all the graduates here today on your fine achievements.